we move on to react to some of the top soccer headlines going on the soccer world. As I pull out my charger real quick as my batteries on my laptop are starting to run out. We have to start off with Erik ten Hag comment saying Manchester United are playing catch up on their squad depths. Erik ten Hag talking in LA as they're doing their US tour, their preseason tour. He talked about Manchester United, saying Erik ten Hag needs to, or Erik ten Hag was talking about how United needs to boost the depth of the squad ahead of the season. So United have currently signed Lenny Yoro and Joshua Zirkzee to replace the likes of Rafael Varane and Anthony Martial, who have both left the club. Speaking during a press conference, Erik ten Hag said, "We need the squad to be as strong as possible. We already have a very good two buys. So when everyone is fit, we have a team who can beat everyone. But with the squad depths, we have to catch up because we had injuries. We are vulnerable. We have to avoid this by getting less injuries. And second, our squad has to be that good. The quality we have in depth, we have to catch up. But even more because this season will be the survival of the fittest. We are looking in all of the positions to reinforce, and we are looking for a plan in our squad to reassure ourselves we already occupied. We work continually, and the good things is we already signed 2 players, and it belongs to a club like Man United that are looking for opportunities that are better, and we still have time until August 30th. The load and pressure on players is immense with the new model in Europe. I just mentioned it. It's survival of the fittest." John Herdman, former Canadian manager, current manager of Toronto FC, former manager of the Canadian men's national team and the Canadian women's national team. Not back-to-back, obviously. Canadian men's national team for a few years, and then before that he had a long stretch, the Canadians women's national team. There was some reports post the issue going on with Canadian women's soccer team with the drone coverage and all that. There was some reports from TSN, which is kind of like the ESPN of Canada, reports saying that this is something that's been going on in Canadian soccer in terms of filming other teams' close practices, and that the men's team has also done that. 17 players on Canadian, according to reports from TSN, it said 17 players on Canada's men's soccer team attended a briefing on August 31st, 2021, as they watched as head coach John Herdman played them a video that showed Honduras' national team closed practice a day earlier. This is reported by TSN, which is incredible that they were able to get access to this. Now, John Herdman, and sources say, and according to this, John Herdman, and also it was discovered that Brave Priestman likely was aware of what was going on, highly likely aware of the incident, which led to a suspension by Canadian soccer. And it's a messy situation. It really is what's going on here with Canadian soccer. Let's go to John Herdman. So when John Herdman obviously came out defending himself, saying, "I've always gone into the Olympic Games, World Cup, big events with integrity in mind and the ability to compete at the highest level, following the rules and processes. So for my side, I'll help Canada Soccer when I can with the review, but I'm highly confident that in my time as a head coach at an Olympic Games or World Cup, we've never been involved in any of those activities." And obviously he says Olympic Games or World Cup, talking about his time at with the Canadian women's team and men's team, because the women's team played in Olympic Games and the men's team. He's coached the men's team at a World Cup. He's coached the women's team at a World Cup. The Canadian team actually won bronze under John Herdman at the 2012 game in London, and the 2016 games in Rio. He was also head coach of the Canadian women's team when they went to the World Cup. And I think he's been charging the 2015 World Cup, I believe. We can check this actually right now. Actually, John Herdman. He's coached multiple World Cups for Canada. Obviously, he coached them at the 2022 World Cup, the men's team at the 2022 World Cup. He coached the women's team in the 2015 World Cup and the 2015 World Cup. I believe that's the only time he coached them at the World Cup, actually. Yeah, he coached them at 2 Olympics and the 2015 World Cup. And then he left in 2018 to take over with the men's job. He was not the coach of the team at the 2019 World Cup. So yeah, he coached them at 2 Olympic Games and 1 World Cup, and he did really well with them, got the men's job. And then he quit to coach Major League Soccer's team, Toronto FC. Bev Priestman, who's the current head coach of the Canadian women's team, she actually was the former assistant to John Herdman, and then succeeded Kenneth Hayner-Moeller as Canadian women's coach after being sent home from the Paris Olympics after allegations. She was actually succeeded by Kenneth Hayner-Moeller as Canadian women's coach right now after Beth Priestman has been sent home from the Olympics after the allegations of the drones and all that. And Herdman, speaking about the spy in Kendall, said it came as a surprise and a shock. He said he found this out when he was landing in France to see his son, Jay Herdman, play for New Zealand when they take on Guinea on Wednesday at the Olympic Games. John Herdman's son, Jay Herdman, is actually playing for New Zealand at these Olympic Games as an underage player. So yeah, that's it's very interesting stuff here. Very, very interesting stuff. But Herdman said he was devastated for the Canadian players. He said, in moments like this, we have to respect that they've put some work to be there. I've been a head coach for a team that's competed for medals, won medals, and those players need the spotlight on their talents at this moment in time. This isn't the time of nitpick about scouting at tournaments. Whatever happened, Canada Soccer is going to be conducting their internal reviews, which is the right thing to do. And I'll be happy to help them with the process for sure, to tell them about the experiences we had in our competitions, etc. But for me, this is about the players. We're really putting a spotlight on something that isn't what this Olympics is about, which is their talent and their moment to shine. And I think the quicker we got back there, the better. Now, Christian Sinclair, the former captain of the Canadian women's national team, it says former captain, but is she not the captain right now? Okay. Oh, she's retired from the Canadian women's national team. Yes, I forgot about that. Okay. She's retired. But yeah, former captain Christian Sinclair, speaking about it on social media, said, I want to be clear that having been a national team player for 23 years, we were never shown or discussed drone footage in team or individual meetings I've been present for. But yeah, it's such an interesting conversation, and I'll see how big of an impact this sort of search has. Canadian soccer, they've been through a lot, and this is another thing that they have to manage, and I'll be very interested to see how this goes. Thank you guys for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast presented by the GSMC Sport Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again and have a wonderful, wonderful day.